I was going to show you all my wheel settings on this Kubota. I'd had a question about widening it out, and what I did, you can, on these front wheels, of course I flipped the wheels around, and what you have to do to get them set the way I have these is, if you flip the wheels around, then you also have to take your centers out, and I set my centers just to the inside, well, to the outside of this right here on your wheel. If you wanted it at its widest setting, you can just turn it around from its factory setting, and that would be on this outside. That little lug on your rim would be on the outside of this center, which with both sides added together, you'd have about 4 more inches of width on your front end. Same way on the back end. I set them, I have the right here, you can see I have the lug on the rim set to the inside of the center, but the wide side of the wheel is facing out, so I could go about 4 more inches wider on the back as well. But this setting works out good. It's about even with my wheel weights, and on the back, and my front and back wheels are pretty well lined up with each other. The front wheels might set in just a little bit. But one reason I didn't want to go to the widest setting is, if you look at the bucket right there, you can see how your front wheel is already wider than your bucket. So if you widen it out more, it's going to be a lot wider. So trying to dig into a side of a road bank or anything like that, it's going to kind of inhibit you a little bit with your wheel set out that much wider. If I had a wider bucket, I'd probably go on and set it on out that much more. But this does good. It like I said, you get about 4 more inches at its widest setting than what I've got it, but I've been satisfied with this setup. Mike, he has his set to the widest setting. He's got an M6060, and he's had it like that for a long time. I've been asked if that would cause any problems or weakness or anything in it, but his has done good, and he's loaded a lot of big logs and done a lot of work with his since he's done it, and hasn't had any problems. And I feel comfortable with mine being set like it is, and I'd feel comfortable with it being set on out. As far as that goes, it wouldn't bother me a bit too. I kind of like to have it a little bit wider at times, but overall this works good. Works good around down in the woods, getting around the roads and stuff. If it's already about too wide in some places, and I just don't really want to get any wider as long as this is working. But if you have hills, and it makes a big difference on the way it feels on being stable and stuff going around the side of a hill. But now if you don't have hillsides, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd leave it where it's at. But now this has worked out really well for me. I've liked it. There's another shot. You can kind of tell about how much wider you are than your bucket. I'd like to have a bigger bucket, so I'd like to have eventually. That bucket's big enough capacity wise, but it'd be nice to have it a little bit wider. Another question I'd been asked is about my maintenance schedules on my tractors and stuff, and I'll go over with you kind of what I do. I mean, you can go by the book. Of course, that's the factory recommendations, and I'm sure that's the best. I probably change my stuff a little more frequent than the book recommends, but I don't really see a problem with that. I mean, if you can afford it, it's better than taking a chance on having problems later. But right here, I always keep on stock my filters And of course I keep extra parts and stuff for some of my hay balers and whatever, but that way if I've got it when I need it, I come in here and get it. Everything, I don't have to run to the store and get it when I take an ocean, change oil, change fuel filters, hydraulic filters, whatever it is. I always try to have that ready and on hand, air filters, all that stuff. One thing about the oil filters and hydraulic filters is I have seen times that you'll puncture a hole in them. So stick flop up and hit them and stuff, or rock or whatever, and knock a hole in it, and that way you've got it on hand, you can get it fixed and back going. It's just like on that Kubota. I was real worried, and I bent one filter before I put that skid plate under it to protect my filters and stuff. I bent one, but it was real easy for something to have got up and knocked a hole in your filters, on your hydraulic filters. So I built that skid plate, which pretty well protects it now. There's not much of a chance anything could get in there. But if it did, I was prepared and ready to replace one. They're expensive. They're about $45 or something a piece, each one of those hydraulic filters. They got magnets in them. But as far as my schedule, right, here's what I do. I've got everything wrote down. Like the farm track there, it doesn't have a hour meter, doesn't work on it, so I've got the date down on it. Like right there, got oil and fuel filters. I changed them on October 1st, 2019. Transmission hydraulic fluid was changed December 1st, 2018. Had to put a clutch in it May 25th, 2018. And on the other equipment, like the trucks and stuff, I keep up with the mileage. Like the blue truck, I'll change it about every 3,500 miles, 4,000 miles. The M6060, it recommends, I think, 600 hours on an oil change in the book, but I usually change it once a year, and unless I run it over 600 hours, which usually I won't. But I try to change the same way with the 245, 135, all that stuff. I'll try to change them at least once a year. I still go ahead and keep up with my hours and everything, but the reason for once a year is because you will get moisture build up and stuff in your oil from the sweating and things from them setting. Letting them set and not run is actually harder, in my opinion, than running them every day. Fuel filters on the Massey Fergusons and stuff, I'll change them about every 2 years. I have went longer. I have went 3-4 years, depending on the running and if they give any problems. The Kubota, I change it at least once a year on the fuel filter. I'm about ready for an oil change right now, but I changed my fuel filter to 1,145 hours. Changed my front differential oil 900 hours. That was the first time I had changed the differential oil on the front. Changed my hydraulic filters every 2 years. And like I said, unless, I usually don't run it over the allotted time during then, but I've changed the hydraulic oil at 600 hours, I believe it was. I'd changed the filters at 50 hours when I first recommended to change the oil at 600. I changed the hydraulic filters the same time I changed the fuel filter, which is 1,145 hours. And which I need to write that down. I don't have it on here. I just noticed that's what I was looking for. And what I do, the hydraulic oil's like $115 for a 5-gallon bucket of the UDT2 fluid. So I don't like changing that. Next time I'll change the oil again. But I'll try to pull it up on some ramps and get it tilted to one side pretty steep. And I'll jerk my one filter at a time off real quick and change it. And you end up having to add about a gallon of fluid back after you do that. But you can get them changed and back on there without losing much fluid. And it's important to change them filters, because I found a lot of metal shavings on them magnets every time I've changed them. So change your filters whether you change your oil or not. But I just try to keep up with it, write it down when I change it, the hours and stuff, and keep a check on that. And if I haven't changed it by December or January, I'll usually go ahead and change it. And like I said, the Kubota's ready for an oil change, engine oil change. Everything else is good shape on it. But hopefully that answered a few of your questions. I use Rotella 1540 for my engine oil. Everybody's got their preferences on that. They can do what they want to, but that's what I've always used and haven't had any problem with it. But thanks for watching. Hope this answers some questions and helps some of you out. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.